In the past life defense system competition, my girlfriend celebrity submitted the same program pattern as me. My sister came out to testify to celebrity, saying I was shameless and that I had copied celebrity. I was cyber-raped by everyone. Even my real parents refused to believe me. They said I was a disgrace and might as well die. In the end, I got sick and died like they wanted me to. And when I opened my eyes, I was reborn the day before the tournament. This time I decided to go abroad. I did not expect celebrity but panicked when I opened my eyes and found that I was still in the school laboratory. Look up at the clock on the wall, is already 2 o'clock in the morning. The lab was still crowded. I glanced at the calendar, and now there was still a week before the defense system was due to be programmed. After a few consecutive nights, I really couldn't hold back and squinted for a while in the lab. Emma from the same team came over and patted me on the shoulder. Ryan's song, "If you're too sleepy, go home early. You'll have more experience tomorrow and your brain will spin faster." I nodded, finally realizing that I was reborn. I looked at the blinking cursor on the computer screen and couldn't help but recall my previous life. In my previous life, when our team gleefully submitted our defense system to the competition organizers, we were immediately followed by the announcement that our results were nullified due to plagiarism. A large group of people on the internet pointed out that our design was the same as that of another participating team. One of the main participants of that team uploaded the program to an open source site every time he had an idea, and gained a huge following for it. I was chased by this group of fans every day. Shame on you. This team has copied the design program written on the open source website in its entirety. If I had known this good thing, I would have participated and I would have won the prize too. This team is really bold. Even dare to copy blatantly. These people should be blocked by the entire industry. This school is not a good school. Look at what kind of students are taught. Still in school, they can do anything for money. In the future, when they enter the society, they still don't know what kind of bad things they are going to become. But we don't believe it at all. This design is our whole team came up with together. A few people came up with the solution together. How can it be and other people's easy to collide, but also collide exactly the same? But do not believe that there is no way. My sister personally on the scene as a fake blogger, dedicated to our program and the victims of the program line by line comparison. The entire project is like the original copy and paste the same. Thinking about it, I hurriedly went to the open source website to look for the account of the bitter master. The account of the avatar is a handsome gamer. He now has tens of thousands of fans. A lot of people leave him a message or shouting his celebrity. His last post has just been updated after 5 minutes. His last post was just updated 5 minutes ago. I opened it and broke out in a cold sweat. His latest post shared his design ideas and included a program. And his ideas and program were exactly the same as the one I just completed. Not a hair out of place. I'm wondering if there's really any system in the world. This boy is a sports student in the sports department of our school. His name is Liam. He is sunny and handsome. And he has been pursued by a lot of people before. One of the best employment directions after graduation from our school is the research institute of a certain treasure. And the annual salary of fresh graduates can be up to $10 million. And the organizer of this competition is also the Silicon Valley Research Institute. A few days ago, he posted a flag on the school campus forum, saying that he wanted to become a cybercriminal in 30 days and become a cybersecurity expert. With the goal of graduating from the Silicon Valley Research Institute. Point 2 Of course, we majored in this field, don't believe it. But his fans believe it. My girlfriend, Sophia, has said on more than one occasion that she believes in the program. My girlfriend, Sophia, has complimented Liam more than once in front of me, saying that he is handsome and has 8-pack abs. When I broke up with her and wanted to set her free, she said she only idolized him and that I was the one she really wanted to spend her life with. At that time, I was silly. Sophia is my nanny's daughter. Grew up with me and obeyed me. I thought she really cherished our relationship. And I also have shortcomings. I spend most of my time in the lab. Sophia always says that the program is my girlfriend. She's a junior at best, but I just found a photo of a luxury hotel in Liam's homepage. The hotel window reflects the shadow of two girls. One of the full girl image is my sister, and another girl only reveals a slender arm. Scar on her. I recognized her as Sophia from the angle. It was obvious that Liam had intentionally revealed my sister and cut off Sophia. It seemed that Liam simply didn't fancy her and treated her as a spare tire. My intuition tells me that these weird things have nothing to do with Sophia and my sister. But I couldn't understand why my sister and Sophia were doing this. For an outsider, they had to put me to death. And I couldn't figure out how they did it so that Liam would always have first-hand access to my program. Could it be that they had tampered with my computer? I immediately thought if my computer was being monitored. I rushed to check it, but I didn't find anything wrong. Is it really a coincidence? The main purpose of designing this tournament is to optimize the system, hoping to better prevent foreign cybercriminals from invading and stealing money from users' accounts. However, the existing payment system on the market now can completely realize these functions. Thinking of this, I deleted all the previous programs. I rewrote the programs for the most common solutions on the market to my computer. And I was curious if Liam would update his post with these as well. I did all this before I went home to sleep, and just as I arrived home, so did my sister. As soon as she saw me, she started sneering at me. Yo, isn't that my family's offensive and defensive genius? How come lost his edge? The programming didn't go well. My parents have always preferred outstanding children, and I was the one who was more outstanding compared to my sister. So my sister has always been upset with me. If she had talked to me like that in my previous life, I wouldn't have even paid her any attention. But now that I've been playing it safe, I'm wondering how she knows if my programming is going well or not. My program design is going well. If nothing else, it'll still be first this time, my sister said firmly. Humph. The first place this time will definitely not be you. Hearing my sister and I arguing, my dad came out as well. My dad runs a small financial company. In my previous life, I have excellent grades. Every exam is the first place. I also love programming. Often will participate in this kind of competition. Every time also take the first place. My dad has always been proud of me. Said that I am smart is like sister. Many of her company's programs are also optimized with my help, but in my previous life and so on I was smeared plagiarism. His attitude towards me directly 180-degree reversal. He disliked me for disgracing him and questioned why I still had the face to live and why I didn't die yet. Later on, he and my sister together threw me out of the house, leaving me to die alone in the hospital from an illness. I can't help but clench my fists at the thought. Now Dad is smiling. I believe in my son. My son is like me. He gets first place every time. When your system is optimized, they'll replace my company's attack and defense system with the one you made as well. So I'll have face when I talk about it. I tried to suppress the uneasiness in my heart, pretended that nothing happened, and obediently nodded my head as always. My sister snorted coldly and went back to her room to sleep, and my dad urged me to go to bed early. My mouth promised. In actuality, I went to my room and immediately began to check the room has not been installed invisible camera, but looked around and found nothing. I turned on my home computer and checked Liam's homepage, but Liam's posts hadn't been updated. Was I being paranoid? If I'm paranoid, all the better. I've already figured out how to optimize the system, and I'll get to work tomorrow morning when I go to the lab. Point 3 The next morning when I get into the lab, I open Liam's homepage again, and there are still no updates to her posts. It really was just a coincidence, and I was finally able to get down to business. I didn't even eat at noon. The more I wrote the program, the more excited I got. The program finally got through in the afternoon. I stretched out and looked at my screen full of programs. A sense of accomplishment. Emma looked at me to see that I was finally done. The whole person is very excited. Xiao Yu. The program has been run out. You're great. What do you want to eat? Let's celebrate today. But my heart is still beating the drums, afraid that Liam's side will do something wrong. I'll do whatever. Just deal with a bite. Emma nodded. And after Emma left, I opened Liam's homepage again, and to my disbelief, I realized that his latest post was the same program that I had just run, and I refreshed the page again and again, fearing that I was hallucinating. Just as I was refreshing the page for the 5th time, Liam made another post, and the content of the post shocked me. The post was a photo of my computer interface where I was browsing through the pages of his post, with the caption, "I didn't realize I was still being followed by the competition gods. Looking forward to your design proposal." The photo was clearly taken by someone in our lab, and I was thrown into a cold sweat. I panicked and looked back, but everyone had their heads down and were busy with what they had in hand. So I couldn't tell who had done it. The number of comments under this post of his went up like crazy. Who is this? Is it that nerd who just hangs out in the library and lab every day? He relies on nothing but hard work. He can't be compared to a genius like our celebrity. I heard that he's also participating in the defense competition this time. Don't post your design ideas and program anymore. Be careful of being exploited by people with a heart of gold. No wonder I was hammered to death in my previous life. So I was surrounded by enemies long ago. Ryan's song. The rice is here. Why do I see that you are distracted? It was Emma who came back from buying rice. I'm fine. I'm a little tired lately. After swallowing a big mouthful of rice, I seem to come back to life. I made a tough decision. Since everyone doesn't want me to win, I'll withdraw from the competition. It's important to save my life, and with my abilities I can still get into a really good business just the same even if I withdraw. Thinking of this, I went to discuss with Emma alone. Emma persuaded me a few times, but seeing that I had a resolute attitude, although regretful, I finally agreed. Emma hugged me and urged me to take a good rest. I immediately booked a ticket, intending to go to Thailand first to relax. But just then Sophia called me. On the phone he sounded anxious. I heard from your team. You want to withdraw from the competition. I instantly got chills. Who did you hear that from? I had only just finished talking to Emma. The people from our own team didn't necessarily know yet. And he already knew. Sui didn't answer my question but frantically accused me. Why are you so irresponsible? This kind of large-scale competition emphasizes teamwork the most. If you say you're withdrawing from the competition, have you ever thought about what the other people in the team think? Sui, have you ever cared about what I think? Sui choked. What do you think? I think we should break up. After saying these words, I immediately hung up the phone. This period of time is physically and mentally exhausted. I don't want to have anything to do with him anymore. I organized my things, backpack, and left. Just as I reached the door, I saw Sui, Liam and their team rushing over in my direction. Liam's expression was anxious. Ryan's song. Did you misunderstand me and Xiao Yi? We really don't have anything to do with it. And please continue to participate in the competition. I really want to compete with you fairly for once. Sophia was reluctant. Ryan's song. Stop it. Just continue the competition. They'll stay with you from now on. Besides, you've been with me for so many years. Who will still want you after we break up? I laughed coldly. Why do you all want to control me? Even breaking up and withdrawing from the competition? People from Liam's team whispered. Did he see Liam's design ideas and program and think that he couldn't win at all? So he chose to withdraw from the competition. I think it's just that. A talented type like our Liam can succeed with a little bit of hard work. I ignored all these words. I bypassed them and went straight to the airport. I suffered from much worse internet abuse in my previous life than I do now. I was so nervous every day that I could walk down the street and get spit on. Point 4 I had just arrived at the airport when my dad called. He didn't even ask me anything and started cursing at me. Ryan's song. I heard that you dropped out of the competition. I heard you dropped out of the competition. How could you run away from the competition? Do you know how many people I've told that you will be the winner of this competition? Come back to the competition. Again. My dad's face is always more important than anything else. I didn't bother to explain. The prize money I got from the competition over the years is enough for me to have a good time for a while. The plane arrived at Hawaii without any problems, and the moment I arrived at the beach and saw the waves and sunshine, my body and mind were happy and relaxed. I spent my days sunbathing and drinking coconut milk, and I didn't have to stay up all night thinking about design solutions and bug fixes, and I didn't have to stare at Liam's homepage to see what he had updated. One evening I got a call from Emma, who saw something wrong with the program I had designed. If you are facing a small number of attacks, the system will be fine, but if there are a large number of attacks, the system will probably crash, and cybercriminals can take advantage of the situation to steal money from users' accounts, which is a big risk. So in practice, my program can't be used directly, but also need to add some additional processing. I gave her a thought and Emma was enlightened. After hanging up the phone, I started to brush the news again, and I saw that my dad had recognized Liam as a protege. My dad once said that he loved talent, and it was true. His son must be the first one, and if his own son was not good enough, then he would recognize a protege. On the news, my sister also said that Liam had already made the best defense system in the world, and that our financial software would be upgraded in a short time. With some curiosity, I turned on my computer and peeked at Liam's homepage again like a thief. His latest post was full of excitement. I've come up with the competition plan in its entirety. The program is as follows, and I welcome your guidance. Below that were all the compliments about how great Celebrity was. I took a closer look at his program and it was exactly the same idea I had given to Emma. I shuddered. Was I thinking of the wrong person? Had the program been leaked by Emma? But why would she do what she did? My mind was so messed up that I decided to pay my respects to the chapel around. I had just arrived at the temple when my sister's call came. She anxiously urged me. Ryan's song. Hurry up and take a look at our payment system. There's already a lot of complaint calls from users saying that the money on their accounts has suddenly disappeared. I sneaked in and looked, and I probably lost more than $50 billion. 5 I sneered. Haven't you already teamed up with Liam? With Liam as a genius? Do you still need to find me to fix the system? Ryan's song. How are you talking to your sister? Get your ass back here. The phone changed to my dad again, and listening to my dad's ranting I also finally realized that my sister and I would never be the same. I have to be good for my dad to like me, but my sister doesn't have to be. She's my dad's little cotton jacket first daughter. Although my sister has not been working, but my sister is the general manager of the company as soon as she graduated. My dad always said that he loved me the most, but in reality, he always hoped that I could assist my sister in peace. Since this is the case, they should have a good time with their protege. I hung up the phone ruthlessly, but my head suddenly hurt like I was hit hard. I hurt until I was in a cold sweat, and my whole body curled up into a ball and fell to the ground uncontrollably, looking at the hall full of gods and Buddhas as my consciousness gradually dissipated. In a haze, I saw a monk walking towards me. Wake Up Again is in the temple guest room, brain still throbbing pain. I glanced at the phone. The phone has been called. There were ones from my sister and my dad, and Sophia and Emma. And I swiped through my social media apps again. The headline that I found trending topics was that my family's financial system was in trouble and my dad's company was at risk of bankruptcy. I turned off my phone. It was my dad and my sister's company, not mine. All I wanted to do now was figure out why my head hurt. I went out and saw Monk, who saved me watering the flowers. I bowed to Monk and expressed my gratitude to him for saving me. Monk's eyes were sharp as if he could see through everything. He gave me a slight nod as a return salute. Young man, don't worry too much. Young man is made for this. Since God is willing to give the young man another chance, then the ending will not let the young man disappointed. As long as the young man to keep the right heart is good. My heart and mind were flabbergasted. This monk had actually seen that I was reborn. I hurriedly spoke. Since the monk can tell that I am reborn, is it possible for him to solve my confusion? Why is it that someone can think the same way as me, as if their heart is in the right place? And why does my head hurt? Monk smiled bashfully. I think the lad is looking for the wrong person. You should go to the hospital to find a doctor for a headache. Said he did not look back and left. I do not understand this old monk gourd in the end sold what medicine. But he is right. Headache should indeed go to the hospital to find a doctor. I found the nearest nearby hospital. The doctor arranged for me a CT. Do CT. I saw CT operation room doctor called several doctors. My heart thumped a moment. Bad. I cannot be with what incurable disease. Right. When I came out of the CT room, the doctor pointed to my film and showed me. Look at this place. You have this extra thing in your head. Our initial judgment is that it should be put in later. So have you done any head surgery before? I was stunned. I've never had any head surgery. The doctor shook his head. That's impossible. So many of our doctors have looked at it. There's no mistaking the results. This thing must have been put in later in life. Head surgery takes a while to recover even if you recover from it. There's no way I don't have a memory of it. The doctor saw that my expression didn't look like a lie. He continued to point it out to me. Look at this thing. There's a place here that resembles a grasping hand, and this could be the cause of your recent headaches. So, it's scratching my brain and causing my headaches. It seems so. As for what you said before, that someone can have a heart-to-heart with you and know exactly what you're thinking. It might have something to do with this thing as well. But now that this thing hasn't been removed, we can't really draw any conclusions. The doctor suggested that I immediately figure out exactly where this thing in my head came from. It can automatically reach out and claw at your brain now. So it could also kill you at any time. I nodded that I knew. Point 6 coming out of the hospital. I gripped my cell phone tightly as I waited for a call. I wasn't sure if it was my sister or Sophia or Emma who did this. But since this person went through the trouble of transplanting such a thing into my brain, he must want something from me. I sat on a park bench and watched the pedestrians on the road suspiciously. I wondered if this person could have come to Hawaii already since they could monitor my mind at all times. My phone finally rang and the caller was my sister. My family's company was going bankrupt, but my sister's voice was full of smugness. Ryan's song. How does it feel to have a splitting headache? I squeezed the phone in my hand. Did you put a tracking device in my head? Why would you do that? My sister laughed. Her next words word for word. I don't have the brains for it. It's our dad who thinks you're smart, so he came up with this way to control you. If you listen and stay as my right-hand man, then you'll be fine for the rest of your life. If you don't listen and try to do something about it, then it'll definitely crush your head. So they already knew about me being reborn, but I'm still puzzled. But why did you ask Liam to copy my program and falsely accuse me of cheating? Because I'm tired of you always acting like you can't see anyone. Like you're the only smart person in this world and everyone else is stupid. So you teamed up with Sophia and Emma to set this trap for me. Yeah, you think you're smart. So I'm going to let all the people around you play you for a fool and see who's smart. My voice couldn't stop shaking. I never thought I was smart. And I never wanted to compete with you for anything. I just wanted to have a job of my own and live a good life. Humph. You do want to compete. It's a pity that you don't compete. From the moment Mom got pregnant, I started to worry and fear that you were a boy who would compete with me for the family fortune in the future. But it turned out that you really are a boy. Dad always said that I was the eldest daughter and that I was his favorite. But you grew up to be so smart and annoying that you came in first place in every exam. And with you in the background, every time Dad scolded me for being stupid like a pig. So I must prove myself. When children don't get along, it's mostly because the old man is immoral. You should hate Dad. Why do you have to hate me? And now that you've won, why don't you just kill me? Why are you still inking so much with me? You shut the hell up. I didn't think you could control your mind. You lied to Emma and let Liam copy the wrong program, causing all the money in our user's account to be swept away by the cybercriminals. If you want to live, you'd better hurry up and get the money back for me. Otherwise I'll let your brain blow up into tofu brain directly. In the face of my sister's hysteria, I seemed unusually calm. I've seen through it now. There's no one around me who truly loves me. Everyone is cheating on me. Sister, I don't want to live anymore. There's no point in me living. My sister obviously didn't expect me to think this way. She was choked. She was even a little anxious. But you're smart. If you win this competition, you'll be able to enter the institute you've always dreamed of, with a salary of $10 million a year, as long as you don't go against me. It'll make sure you'll be fine for the rest of your life. Isn't that good? I'm tired and I've already dropped out of the competition. Not to mention you guys got a Liam to frame me. I can't even win. And one can't live just for money, right? So I might as well die. My sister tried to continue to persuade me, but was immediately interrupted by me. Ever since I was little my father has been strict with me. Since I was in elementary school I haven't slept more than 5 hours a day, and am down to this last bit of time. I want to sleep more. After saying this I immediately hung up the phone and closed my eyes, forcing myself to empty my brain. I've noticed a pattern. As long as I don't think, say, or do anything they can't analyze what I'm really up to. Point 7 I made sure my mind was all cleared out and rushed back to the hospital to get to the doctor again at idle speed. The doctor is a little surprised to see me back. Why are you back again? I didn't say anything. The doctor senses that I'm not quite right. He approaches me and breaks open my eyelids to scrutinize me for any abnormalities. I shake my head gently. The doctor ponders slightly. Are you trying to say there's nothing physically wrong with you? I nodded my head gently. Then you are trying to say that you don't want the other person to know what you are thinking or what you are doing. I nod again. So what do you want to do back at the hospital? For us to help you get your stuff out. I nod again. But if the other side finds out you're going to have surgery to get the thing out, won't they kill you? I shake my head. I figured my sister was busy trying to figure out how to cope with the bankruptcy right now, and in the process give me back my hope of staying alive. As long as the user's money wasn't recovered, I was safe. The doctor was interested in what was going on in my head, and he looked excited to hear that I had agreed to the surgery. He asked the nurse to call in a large group of doctors to give me a consultation to help me determine my surgical plan, and finally determined that I could have surgery tomorrow morning. Before I left, I said to the doctor, "Doctor, I want to sleep. Please prescribe me some sleeping pills." The doctor was a little surprised. Then he responded, "Have you had insomnia lately?" "Yes. I've had insomnia lately and I need a good night's sleep." The cell phone in my pocket was vibrating like crazy. I took it out and saw that it was my sister. She had found out that I was buying sleeping pills. She guessed that I was trying to buy sleeping pills to kill myself. I immediately hung up the phone and followed the nurse to the hospital room, where I asked for water to swallow the sleeping pills. The phone vibrates again. This time it's Sophia. I pick up the call because I really want to hear her voice begging me. "Ryan's song. Where are you? I beg you to help Liam, okay? Your sister wants him to double the damages. That's 100 billion. How can I help? Help call the police." "Sorry. I'm a bit busy right now." I hung up after saying that, and then I fell into a long sleep. They'll sleep well tonight, but my sister shouldn't have time to sleep tonight. She'll lift Thailand off to find me. Right. If I sleep deeply enough and my mind goes blank. In time they'll think I'm really dead. Tomorrow morning the doctor will wheel me straight into the operating room for surgery, so hopefully everything will go well. When I wake up again, the doctor congratulates me on a successful surgery and that thing in my head has been successfully removed. I was bored and started scrolling through the trending topics on my cell phone, and the news of my suspected death in Hawaii was already on the top of the trending topics. There is a video below. My sister with red eyes is telling the media that I have been traveling alone in Thailand and have been disconnected from my family for more than 48 hours. If you see me, please contact her as soon as possible. She attributed the reason I traveled to Thailand alone to the fact that I had been cheated on by a scummy woman and I was already suicidal when I left. She said she had taught Sophia a lesson and wanted me to come home soon. The media all sympathized with her, praising her as a good sister with a beautiful person and a kind heart, and saying that poor me was a relationship brain. Sophia's whole family was raked over the coals. People cursed her as a cheating woman. My sister got someone to break one of her legs and poisoned her mute. I guess she was afraid that she would say something she shouldn't. My sister also got search and rescue personnel to search in the Caribbean Sea under false pretenses. She really did a full set of drama. The family is going to be unable to uncover the pot. She is still blindly spending money. I touched my face. What a mistake. I should have gotten a whole face when I took that thing out of my head. I swiped through Liam's homepage again. His post was now full of curses. Humph. A physical education student who doesn't exercise properly is pretending to be a great god of offense and defense. His private life is messy. He's being supported by a rich woman and he's hooking up with my girlfriend. He's a scum. Someone else showed a photo of my sister picking him up from school in a luxury sedan. There is also a photo of the luxury hotel. The shadow of my sister on the window was also circled. And everyone combined with the recent my company out of these things have scolded my sister deserved it. I really didn't know how angry my dad would be when he saw these public opinions, and the thought of them getting angry put me in a good mood. Which made me get well faster. Point 8, but the fact that I was still alive eventually came to my dad's attention. And my sister was right. I was smart enough to indeed look like my dad. He sent Emma, who started crying as soon as she saw me. Her mouth kept telling me she was sorry. Xiao Yu, I'm not asking you to forgive me. I'm begging you to forgive your dad. Okay. It's not easy for your dad. He did it all for your family. No matter how confused your sister is, she is still your sister. I was so disappointed. My sister had gotten into so much trouble. And my dad still refused to give up on her. As far as my sister's pig brain is concerned, if the company was handed over to her, it wouldn't all be lost in minutes. Oh, no. It's already lost. The family is going bankrupt. Right. Emma cried even more when she heard that. Xiao Yu, your sister is indeed not a thing. Your dad also said he would beat sister to death. But she is still my dad's real daughter. My real sister is it. So my dad still can't let go. She still has to take over my dad's industry in the future too. Emma laughed as she interrupted me. Of course not. Your dad isn't confused. I'm pregnant. It's a girl. It's 24 weeks. The baby is my dad's. I was thunderstruck out of my mind. Of course. Your dad said your mom was a vase. Just good looking. And as a result, your sister followed her lead, being good looking. I'm so smart. The child I give birth to will also be smart. So don't worry. In the future, when your father's company is handed over to my daughter, she will definitely not disappoint you like your sister. I still didn't react for half a day. I couldn't accept that my former best friend betrayed me and now she has to give birth to my dad. Emma saw me dumbfounded. She rushed up to me and shook my arm. The same as in the past at school when she encountered a bug and pouted for me to help her change it. I was so happy to see that Emma was so happy to see me. She was so happy to see me. You are going to be a big brother. Are you happy? In the future, There will be no more your annoying sister in the family. There will only be our family of 4. Xiao Yu, don't worry, this one in my belly will be a genius in the future. He will definitely make our family live a good life. I pull out my arm. I don't understand why she thinks I'll be happy, but when I calm down and think about it, all this doesn't seem to have anything to do with me. I've never wanted the family fortune. And of course, I've never wanted to help them get back the money that was hacked away. I spoke coldly. It's really congratulations. I knew you'd be happy for me, so help your dad out and get all the money back. I shook my head. Chi-Chi, you also know that my dad has requirements for his children's IQ. If the child must be a genius, then the child's mom must first be a genius as well. You've seen my dad's ability. He can get you pregnant. He can also get other women pregnant. Now that my dad's company is in crisis, it's a good opportunity for you to perform. So do you want to help him remove the crisis so that the status of the child in your belly is considered secure? Emma looked embarrassed. But you also know that I'm not at a high level. I have no way to solve this kind of complicated problem. Let's do it like before. You do it well and I'll copy it. Of course, when we were admitted into the computer academy together. She was also very smart, but her mind was always focused on finding a rich second generation, and she never studied properly. In the past, we were friends, and I took her with me every time we competed. One person to do the work of 2. I did not expect that she would betray me, betrayed so completely. Point 9. I used technology to disguise myself as cybercriminals, and rolled up all the last money on the family's account. And then invaded the system in the background to write several users' data that were being tested to death. Emma ran a good program according to what I said. And the user's side excitedly said that the money had been returned by the cybercriminals. Emma was very excited. I'm not going to hide it from you. I also found out before that your father was looking for high-quality girl genes from the major colleges and universities. And I've been worried that my position was unstable. That's why I chose to betray you. Well now, your dad must be super excited for our baby to be born. I nodded. That's good. You'll be my only good friend from now on. With that done, I said I wanted to go to the bathroom. Emma was still so caught up in her excitement that she completely ignored me. I snuck off and headed straight to the airport. After that, it was time for me to become a rich brother and start traveling the world. An hour later, I swiped another trending topics from my house saying that the client could see the money on the account but couldn't withdraw it. The client had already called the police to the financial regulators, and a large number of police officers came to my house to investigate. But unfortunately, by this time my house had no money left. All of the client's money had been swept away by the cybercriminals, and the money on the account was all in numbers. An hour later, all the money on all the customers' accounts was zeroed out, and by then, all the customers in my house had realized that the money they had deposited was gone. My family owed enough money to bankrupt a country, and my dad didn't have the means to face it and eventually chose to kill himself. I'm not sure what happened to Emma and the kid, but it wasn't good. By that time I had already run off to Alaska to watch Northern Lights, and I was a lonely, rich man with hope when I thought about life. On the day of my due date, I was in a serious car accident while driving alone on my way to the hospital. My husband, who is an ER department doctor, ran to save his self-harming suicidal white moon. I didn't call him. I watched as the vehicle exploded on impact and was annihilated in flames. In my previous life, just because I had called for help, he left behind self-harm Jian Yan over to save me. I and the child in the belly is saved. Jian Yan but blood loss died at home. The body 3 days before the husband found. Husband mouth said he did not blame me, said that all this is their own choice. Even want to give me to make up the wedding. The night before the wedding, but he knocked me out and dragged me to Jian Yan's house. In her self-harm bathtub, I will be a knife to lynch, and even the child in the belly was disemboweled by him. He looked at my bloodied body, his eyes scarlet. Isn't it just a car accident? It's not like you're going to die. But Yun lost her life because of your car accident. Today I'll let you taste the pain she went through that day. Opening my eyes again, I went back to the day of the car accident. Point one. After a loud bang, the vehicle kept rolling over and I fell in a pool of blood with my stomach wide open. The tram was violently hit, and gouts of white smoke quickly rose. I didn't expect to be reborn to this time. Reacting, I used all my strength to climb out half of my body from the main driver's seat. The lower half of my body, however, was stuck dead still and couldn't move. The surrounding passers-by were afraid that the vehicle explosion would affect them, and they all hid far away. The voice for help was drowned in the buzzing noise. Seeing the failure of the plan to seek help from passers-by, I can only tremble with my cell phone to dial out 120 for help. The cramping pain in my abdomen became more and more pronounced, and cold sweat dipped out of my forehead. The caller on the other end was Zhao Huai's coworker, with whom I had met a few times. As soon as she heard my voice, she immediately sank her tone. "Sister Jing, Dr. Zhao has something going on today. He specifically instructed us before he left. You can't reach him, he might call the office." "Okay, I know what you're going to ask, but I really can't tell you where he's going. This is an important phone call we're making, so don't waste the first aid resources. Just hang up." Hearing her about to hang up made me completely anxious. Between struggling, the location of the passenger door sandwich slammed down a bunch of cosmetics left by Jiang Yan towards me. However, I couldn't look at it and spoke in a hurried voice. "Don't hang up. You misunderstand. I'm not asking Zhao Huai. I've had a car accident right in front of your hospital at this intersection. Now the vehicle is at risk of exploding at any time. Can you quickly let someone?" Before she finished her sentence, she impatiently interrupted. "Sister Jing, you don't have to act out. Okay, Dr. Zhao isn't here. You can't see him even if the ambulance goes over. Stop it. This call is used to save everyone's life. Can you stop taking up public resources? Count me as begging you." He didn't mean to not answer your call. It's really a matter of human life over there. You're still pregnant. Just stay in labor. Don't think too much. Wait for him to finish his work and then he'll explain to you. After saying this, the phone was hung up by her. Tears of despair smashed down the corners of her eyes and fell to the ground. I didn't expect Zhao Huai to do such a desperate thing and not leave me any way to live. Previously, when he was called by Jiang Yan for various reasons, I did call the office to look for him. But there was never any cheating, let alone taking up and wasting first aid resources. 7 years of feelings. In the end, I was such an image in his heart. No wonder the previous life for Jiang Yan to me went so sharp. No mercy. In a life and death situation, I cannot afford to think too much. The temperature in the car is getting higher and higher, and it is about to reach the critical point of explosion. I took a few deep breaths, and my gaze fell on the bulge in my abdomen. Desperately, I tried to climb out of the shattered car window. My palm was cut by the glass, shards embedded deep into the wound. I moved another 10 centimeters outward from the car. Strength fading. I slumped to the ground in a sorry state, gasping for breath. The skin of my body was almost cooked by the temperature inside the car, and in just 2 minutes the exterior of the vehicle was already covered in smoke. As more and more passers-by gathered around me, some were kind enough to call out for help, asking if there was a professional doctor nearby. Soon, a rush of footsteps approached. Zhao Huai's department head appeared in front of me. Point 2. The director scanned the situation around the vehicle and quickly organized the help of kind passers-by to drag me out of the car. The moment I was brought to a safe area, the vehicle behind me exploded and was engulfed in flames. The chief was experienced in checking my injuries. A circle of passers-by surrounded me, now asking questions about the situation. "How can you let a pregnant woman drive out alone? This family has big hearts. Is she okay? I called the emergency phone. I do not know why the other side has been occupied. It was hard to get through. Heard the location, said I acted. Did not wait for me to say the word car accident. The opposite side of the phone directly hung up. Hell, really? The hospital are recruited, what nerve. Little girl pregnant cannot go out alone. Ah. The stomach is so big. Look, are going to give birth. Your husband's phone number. Ah. Auntie, help you contact him. They just didn't dare to go forward because of the fear of the explosion. But the concern they are showing right now makes the tip of my nose sour. I endured the sharp pain that tore through my body and shook my head weakly. Even a stranger I met on the street could show such concern for me. But my husband of 7 years wanted me and my children dead for the woman who had abandoned him. The 7-year itch is true to its name. It seemed that everything that happened after being born again was God's way of reminding me of my stupidity and blindness. Everyone didn't notice that the director's face became more and more sullen with their words. Until after checking my condition, he immediately took out his cell phone and dialed the ER department. The moment it was connected, he was heard questioning angrily. Now send a car to the intersection immediately. Don't you know there's a car accident here? If I hadn't passed by on my way to work, the injured would have been dead by now. How many times do I have to call to get you here? Who gave you the guts to do this? Do you know the importance of the ER department? If you can't work this shift, you're out of here. 5 minutes later, I was being pulled into an ambulance. The phone rang in my hand. The director kindly pressed answer for me and handed the phone to my ear. The next second, Zhao Huai's angry questioning came from the other end. Hearing his voice again, I couldn't help but shiver. You even called our section. How long are you going to make a scene? Didn't I tell you that I have something to do today? Do you just have to annoy me at this time? The baby is almost born. Look at what you look like. I'm busy enough at work every day. Can you stop calling me for everything? You can't live without me, can you? What woman doesn't get pregnant? I've never seen anyone as crazy as you. If I didn't come over today, Yan almost got self-harmed, you know. Can't you understand anything? I know how to go back after I'm done. Don't bother me. His impatient voice was vaguely mixed with Jian Yan's aggrieved crying. After a flurry of venting, without waiting for me to finish or asking about my situation, Zhao Huai directly hung up the phone. His cold face when he did it to me in his previous life came to mind. Tears flowed down the corners of my eyes and onto the stretcher. Breathing couldn't stop the trembling. A sharp throbbing pain in my abdomen brought me back to my senses. Scarlet blood mixed with amniotic fluid spread out beneath me. But none of this could compare to the pain of being cut by 1,000 knives by Zhao Huai in my previous life. The moment I was sent to the emergency room, the colleague who answered the phone saw my pale face on the stretcher. He was so scared that his eyes widened in an instant. Rushed up to apologize to me. Said she thought the car accident was an excuse I made up to find Zhao Huai. Said that the phone call she just hung up on me to ask for help was just a misunderstanding. The director on the side saw that the situation was not right and asked before realizing that I was Zhao Huai's wife of 7 years of marriage. In the next second, he was furious and took out his own cell phone to call Zhao Huai .3 in order for me to hear him clearly. He pressed speakerphone at the moment of connection. Zhao Huai, where are you now? Your wife is in an accident and needs surgery right away. Get your ass back here immediately. I had thought that he would at least hesitate when he heard his boss call. But he didn't expect Zhao Huai to directly say in a deep voice, Director, did Wan Jing find you and go crazy? No matter what she says. Don't believe her. She's a lunatic now. Fighting with me at home every day. I'm a doctor. I can't just see her die to keep her from getting jealous. If I had arrived one step later today, the injured would have been self-harmed. Her mood hasn't stabilized even now. Let Ruan Jing for pending labor. You, by the way, to help me explain the explanation. She really do not listen to it even if, like to believe it or not. The director didn't expect Zhao Huai to have this attitude and gritted his teeth to hold back, not letting himself explode on the spot. The veins on his forehead were furious. But in the next second, just as he was about to open his mouth, Jiang Yan's delicate voice rang out from the other end. "Is it Sister Jing Jing looking for you? Are you leaving? Then I'm left by myself again, right? It's also true that your child is almost born and I still refuse to let go of you. It's my problem." Zhao Huai seemed to be afraid to hear it, and the phone was violently hung up by him. After a violent contraction, my eyes went black and I completely lost consciousness. The director hurriedly pushed me into the operating room. In my coma, my thoughts seemed to go back to my previous life. The first moment the car accident happened in my previous life. I called Zhao Huai for help. He was still on his way to find Jiang Yan. When he heard that I was in a car accident, he immediately turned his head and came over to save me. He used all his strength to drag me out of the main driver's seat and rushed into the emergency room with me covered in blood in his arms. He didn't let go until I was out of danger. Only the baby in my belly was irritated and didn't go into labor on time. When he sent me home and rushed to find Jiang Yan himself, he only saw a cold corpse in the bathtub. The wound on the wrist was deep enough to see the bone. Without a word, he dealt with Jiang Yan's aftermath alone. When he appeared in front of me again, it was already 2 days later. Looking like nothing had happened, he calmly told me the news of Jiang Yan's accident. Against my guilty expression, he shook his head indifferently. Said that he did not blame me, said that he went through this incident and realized that the world is unpredictable. I can't wait to give me a wedding in person. I looked at his eyes and former different eyebrows. Chose to believe. The night before the wedding, he knocked me out and dragged me to Jiang Yan's house. My limbs were tied up by him, and my body was curled up in Jiang Yan's self-harm bathtub. In the eyes that he looked at me, there was no more half of his old affection. Only scarlet hate and unquenchable resentment remained. Paranoid face, like a madman who has lost the love of his life. The knife in his hand was polished and glittering. In my eyes about to collapse, he slowly opened his mouth. "A car accident is just a car accident. Are you going to die? But Yun lost me. She really died. Do you know how deep her wounds are? Do you know how much blood she bled that day? She was lying in your position, and the blood flowed down to her calf. I have studied medicine for so many years. For the first time I know that there is so much blood in the human body, so much that I can't see any other color in my eyes. It doesn't matter if you don't know, you'll know soon enough." After saying that, he placed Jiang Yan's last photo in front of bathtub. Avenge her in front of her face, the moment knife stabbed into my body. I almost fainted from the pain. But no matter how much I shook my head and cried in pain, he was always indifferent. The knife fell from his hand. Our almost born child in the moment of just touching the outside world completely lost its breath. I thought that this was the end of his revenge for Jiang Yan. But I didn't expect it to be just the beginning of his madness. He raised the knife. Knife after knife fell on me and the child. The murmur in his mouth seemed ghostly and insane. "That's how deep it is. That's where it is. That's how much blood it is. Yun must have been in pain. She must have really needed me at that time." The second before I swallowed my breath, I counted a whole 1,000 cuts. He fell on me, and the child, 1,000 knives. After death, he threw our bodies in bathtub. Holding Jiang Yan's ashes, he organized the wedding. At that time, my soul floated to the side, looking at the crazy obsession in his eyes. Only then did I wake up to my own stupidity. Unfortunately, it was already too late. I should have known. From the time when Jiang Yan returned to China 7 years ago on the day of our wedding, From the time when he received that phone call to leave me behind at the wedding. Even if in the beginning, he was the one who was abandoned by Jiang Yan and came over to provoke me himself, I still don't have any chance of winning compared to Jiang Yan. A wedding without a groom, a marriage without love. I supported it alone for 7 years. Now it finally ended in blood. 4 When I opened my eyes again, I was already lying in a hospital room. The nurse regretfully informed me of the news that the baby was not saved. Running my hands over my stomach. Only the loose skin and flesh remained to prove the existence of this child. I stared helplessly at the ceiling and reached for my cell phone from my pillow. I was just about to send Zhao Huai a message about the divorce. Instead, his phone call came in first. I pressed answer, and before I could say anything, he spluttered. "What's with the rumors on the internet? Did you spread them? Are you out of your mind? Do you know how much this affects the hospital? You delete it immediately. I can't stand you any longer. Don't you know that rumor mongering is against the law? Can you act like a normal person? Delete it, or I'll divorce you right away." Without waiting for me to hear clearly, the phone was hung up by him. Hatred drowned out reason. My nails were embedded deep into my palm. My knuckles were so hard that they trembled. On the contrary, this time, Jiang Yan was fine and he didn't do anything excessive, so I had no reason to call the police to arrest him. Thinking about what he just said, I opened my cell phone and looked at it. Only then did I realize that on the day of the car accident, I didn't know which passerby had taken a video and posted it online. Netizens were noticing the point of calling emergency services, but no one cared. At one time, the hospital ER department was scolded by the whole network on trending topics. If not for the appearance of the director at the end of the fire to reduce a few points, I am afraid that the hospital was scolded to be closed on the spot. I searched for the hospital's official account on the software, and it had already been cancelled by the netizens. And the ER department's work did have a fatal loophole. I have no reason to let the video go down to come out and clarify. Instead, I was happy to see it happen. I clicked into Jiang Yan's circle of friends, but it was the opposite of the hospital's chicken and dog. A piece of peace and quiet of the years. Completely do not see half of the tendency to self-harm. When I was in surgery, she even updated a dynamic. A perfect lover is the cure for all mental illnesses. Seeing this sentence, I laughed with a face full of sarcasm. Silently gave her acting skills a nod of approval. Such a good perfect lover. I'll leave you to enjoy it yourself. Just a minute after I gave her the nod, Zhao Huai called again. This time I didn't answer it. I just hung up and put the number on my blacklist. As a result, his message box popped up at the top of the screen. "What are you scolding Yinyan for? You have something to come at me. Less crazy in front of her." I quickly sent him the word divorce. And then the software contact information along with the black. Outside the corridor, but at this time noisy. Reporters poured into the hospital lobby, demanding interviews with the head of the ER department. The medical staff hissed under their breath that photography was forbidden. The director also came out of his office to maintain order, saying that he was the person involved in the video. And yet, there was still no way back. The dean received the news and rushed in, and people didn't buy it either. Forced by public opinion, the hospital handed over the female co-worker who answered my distress call that day. She sobbed uncontrollably and convulsively explained that she was only being used by Zhao Huai. The mistake at work was really unintentional. The next thing I knew, the dean's call came to Zhao Huai's cell phone, ordering him to show up within half an hour. The director was afraid that I would be affected by the reporters and came in to remind me not to walk around freely, saying that they would deal with it and that they were at fault for this matter. I had just nodded my head when the door to the ward was kicked open by Zhao Huai from outside. He directly skipped the director on the side and rushed in with a furious face. hissing at me. I'm asking you to explain. Don't you understand what I'm saying? You know exactly what happened at that time. Don't blame me for prosecuting you if you keep spreading rumors. You want me to divorce you, don't you? Then let's divorce. He didn't notice what I said, and his eyes fell on my flat stomach. There was consternation in his eyes. Stunned for 2 seconds, he looked around the empty hospital room before speaking slowly. Where's the baby? 5A sneer tugged at the corner of my lips, my voice so indifferent that I couldn't hear the emotion. Dead. Died when you were busy saving Jiangyan. Losing my child for the second time. I was quite a bit calmer than in my previous life. The first time we met after being reborn. I looked at him with a cold gaze. The love that was once 7 years old was no longer there. And now there was only biting hatred left. The image of his death by 1,000 cuts in my previous life was projected in front of my eyes scene by scene. The nails under the bedding pinched my palms to death. I forced myself to control it so that I wouldn't let myself lose my temper in front of him. Zhao Huai was well aware of how much I valued and cared for our child. So when he heard my words and didn't believe them, his first reaction was anger. Are you kidding me? There's no end to the act. Is there? Sensing something was wrong, he took a step back to look at the number of the hospital room. Stepping through the door again before questioning me. Shouldn't you be in the OBGYN? Why are you in the emergency room? What's going on? The obvious scolding in his voice was like I'd done something terribly wrong. Taking up their department's valuable medical resources. The director took in the scene in front of him and couldn't bear it. He couldn't believe that this was actually the doctor he had brought up with his own hands. Taking 2 deep breaths, he angrily scolded. Is this your responsibility as a husband? Even your wife looks like this. No wonder you can be indifferent to the call for help. How can I trust you with my patients? You get out right now and make amends with the media. Zhao Huai's eyes widened as he spoke with conviction. Explain what? What she said was originally a lie. Just let her explain directly. Won't that be enough? What sin do I have? My only sin is finding this woman who is irrationally mad at me every day. The director was so angry with him that he couldn't catch his breath and hissed angrily. Have you seen the video on the internet or not? Do you know what you came here for today? If the video was fake, how could the hospital be scolded like this? Can it be that other than you, no one else has a brain? We're all freeloaders, aren't we? Zhao Huai, how could you become like this? The hatred in his tone was too obvious. From his impression, the director had always been a gentle elder in Zhao Huai's mouth. Looking at Zhao Huai's face full of astonishment at this moment, one could tell that this was probably the first time the director had ever given him a cold face. When he opened his mouth again, his voice was a bit hesitant. What do you mean? What's wrong with the video? Isn't it just a random rumor that Wan Jing found from the internet? He didn't even glance at the internet, and the first time he arrived at the hospital, he found his way to the ward to cleave his head and scold me. I was filled with sarcasm and my expression grew colder and colder. The director was furious, his chest rising and falling violently. The disappointment in his eyes grew thicker and thicker. Directly in person, he pulled out his own cell phone to find the online video. Positioned in front of Zhao Huai's eyes and pressed play. On the screen, the appearance of me climbing out from the vehicle's main driver's window was extraordinarily clear. The bursts of white eyes that ignited were even more impossible to fake. The blood on the ground stained the road. The bulging abdomen was crushed and deformed. The video ended with an explosion and the playback ended. Zhao Huai's standing body shook feebly. His eyes were fixed on the screen for a long time. By the time he found his voice, it was already 2 minutes later. In the eyes that turned his head to look at me, there was no more of the party's rising offense. And there was a hidden dodge of guilt. 6. So, kid. His brow furrowed slightly, his pupils trembling a little. Wanting to know the answer. but afraid to hear it. I couldn't help but sneer. What's wrong with the child? Wasn't it told? Dead. Died in a car accident. Just watched the video and now you've forgotten. How could it have survived being crushed that badly? Aren't you a doctor? Can't you see it? Zhao Huai's face turned pale to the naked eye. His lips couldn't stop opening and closing, one by one. But he couldn't say anything. It was exactly the same as before when Jiang Yan left the country and I picked up the drunken him on the side of the road. After a long time, his throat swallowed several times. Only then did he open his mouth and said, I came in a hurry. I really didn't look at the video carefully. I thought the video was fake. I can explain. I did run out to save people at that time. And it wasn't for any personal matters. Not to mention selfishness. How serious I am for my work. You are aware of that. The words fell. My heart was full of sarcasm. 7 years of relationship. He had countless times said that I saved him from the fire when Jiang Yan left. It even made me think for a while that I was the salvation in his life. But even the words of my life is at stake. Need to show evidence to make him believe. At this point in their relationship, they are no different from enemies. The director saw that he had finally come to his senses for a few moments. He directly pulled his clothes and ripped him out of the hospital room, leaving only one sentence behind as he left. Don't affect the patient's mood. Save this time for explaining to the reporters. The hospital is in a mess because of you. The dean has taken over for you for half a day. If you can't explain clearly this time, you don't have to work in the future. The echo in the corridor gradually dissipated until their footsteps could not be heard at all. The reporters outside flooded into the hall, and at this moment the originally empty place was hard overcrowded. The staff on duty in the hospital all sank their faces, their gazes solemn. This was, I'm afraid, the biggest crisis the hospital had faced since its opening. Zhao Huai was pulled to the scene by the director, and then hastily introduced that this was the husband of the heroine in the video. He was also a doctor in the ER department of the hospital. Then, Zhao Huai was pushed into the middle of the reporters. This action directly caused the emotion of the reporters, who were still quite calm, to instantly stir up. Each microphone with different company logos almost poked into Zhao Huai's mouth. The questions in their mouths were even more difficult than one another. Someone asked if it was because he and his wife's relationship had broken down, so he deliberately instructed the ER department not to answer my calls. Another person asked if Zhao Huai had long planned to deliberately kill people, and whether the exploded vehicle had been sent for inspection. The accident that was not taken over by the ER department in the first place. Was it an accident or man-made? Before the last answer could be figured out, the next even trickier question came crashing in. Zhao Huai's feeble explanation was completely swallowed down his throat under the life-threatening pursuit. Cold sweat slid down his forehead and quickly fell into his collar. His face was full of tangles, but he couldn't make a sound for a long time. The reporters swarmed around him, surrounding him inside and out. Zhao Huai had no choice but to retreat step by step, and was finally cornered. Seeing that there was no way back behind him, the hidden anger in his eyes was about to erupt on the spot. I walked out of the hospital room holding onto the wall. Going to the nurse's desk next to me, I borrowed a horn .7 just as I was about to press the switch. Zhao Huai hissed angrily. Enough. Can you listen to me? Just because Ruan Jing couldn't get a hold of me before, she often called our hospital's emergency center, not saying anything about her illness, but only naming me. And we all know very well that doctors don't have time to look at their phones when they're busy. Afterwards I went back to the department, only to hear my colleagues say this matter. I went home and immediately reasoned and theorized with her. I specifically instructed for her not to call the emergency number, so that it would be easy to delay the people who really need rescue. The result is that she nodded her head on the surface to agree. In fact, did not take my words to heart. As long as the contact cannot be me. She immediately called 120. This matter can also be witnessed by my coworkers. This time I also left the hospital in order to go and save someone. I didn't expect something like this to happen when I went out for a while. Because of the previous lesson, my coworker ignored her and thought she was joking again like before. After saying that, his expectant gaze went to the female coworker who answered my call when the accident happened. Their silent eyes met in the air. Then, the other person immediately nodded. Speaking to the reporter, "That's right, she did call several times before, and at that time, we were all particularly busy, so we were afraid that her call to find Dr. Zhao delayed the patient who really needed rescue. So this time there was a misunderstanding. A human life, just like this in their mouth, was trivialized into a story of wolves." Without hesitation, I pressed the on button of the horn in my hand. The next second, a loud voice came out from the speaker. "What they just said in their mouths is all a lie. I'm the main character in the car accident video, and I can prove that everything they just said doesn't exist. It's because my husband wanted to go to another woman during my car accident. So he asked his co-workers to help cover for him. As for what he said about the call I made to EMS once upon a time, that's even more nonsense. If everyone doesn't believe me, I can retrieve the call records now and print them from the business office. That way the records can't be faked, much less deleted." The moment the words fell, Zhao Huai almost stared out of his eyes in indignation. He didn't think I could show up in public to punch him in the face. In the old days, as long as it was favorable to his career, I could step back unconditionally. No matter how much aggression I have suffered. As long as he lightly explains a sentence to me afterward, I can choose to forgive. As if nothing had happened. Even if it was our wedding anniversary when he had to have a temporary surgery, it was actually to give a gift to Jiang Yan. Even if my parents' funeral when he said the hospital to have a meeting, in fact is to accompany Jiang Yan travel. Can't give up our feelings, can't give up my sincere dedication. So I backed down step by step to make excuses for him. Now think about it, perhaps it is my 7 years of unconditional concessions. Only step by step to grow the idea of derailment in his heart. The whole 7 years, I do not even have a cold face to him. The pent-up resentment exploded one day, so that I hurt so much that it broke my bones. It can also burn the two of them dogs and men to ashes. The way I spoke was too righteous, so even if I didn't produce any substantial evidence, the reporters at the scene had also quietly favored me. Especially seeing my flat stomach. Eyes filled with sympathy and pity. They all knew very well that I, as a mother, had lost my husband in this car accident. Lost my own child who was almost born. They all knew what that meant to a woman. Even when I showed up defenseless, the reporters didn't rush up to embarrass me. Much less asked me a single question. Instead, it was Zhao Huai who looked at me with a poisoned gaze. It was as if I wasn't his newly pregnant wife, but his father's enemy. 8 We were standing nearly 20 meters apart. Yet I could clearly see his jaw clenching hard. It was almost as if he was going to crush his teeth. The sinister mouth and cold expression could no longer be reunited with the teenager in my memory. By the time I finished speaking for a long time, the quiet atmosphere of the room was instantly bombarded to a climax. The reporters rushed towards Zhao Huai with increasingly violent movements. The hospital's security guards couldn't even stop them when they came on together. Everyone crowded in front of Zhao Huai, questioning one after another, asking him if he was neglecting his wife and children because he was cheating on them. Is it because of cheating that he wants to take advantage of this car accident to kill people? Zhao Huai's face paled under the questioning one after another. His lips pursed. The development of things had gone beyond his control. He simply didn't expect that the family conflict with me could come to this point. Eyes dodging for a long time, finally trembled and opened his mouth. I have already said. I was not in the hospital because I had to go to save people. The injured person has a very serious heart disease. At that time, he called me and said that he wanted to commit suicide by self-harm. As a doctor of the ER department, how could I possibly see death and save him? I was just fulfilling my responsibilities and obligations as a doctor. How can she be associated with cheating? There are so many female patients in the hospital every day. Is it possible that all of them are having an affair with a doctor? There isn't a single piece of evidence for the words coming out of Ruan Jing's mouth. This is pure rumor and slander. I can contact and call that injured person to explain for me right now. I've been enlightening her for half a day and her mood has just stabilized. After saying this, he started to call Jiang Yan in order to make the reporters believe it. He even purposely put it on speakerphone. The voice was recorded into the camera from the microphone. I gently hooked up one side of my lips and spoke. Who says I don't have evidence? Proof. I've just posted it online. Everyone can open their phones and look at it. It's in the comment section below that video. I wasn't lying. Before I walked out of the hospital room, I did receive a photo from Jiang Yan. In the photo, 2 people were lying on the bed with their hands interlocked with 10 fingers. The identity symbolizing scar on Zhao Huai's finger from his previous surgery was also extraordinarily clear. Jiang Yan probably didn't expect it herself. Her unbridled flaunting of me would be the last straw that crushed Zhao Huai to death. The first time I received her photo, I looked at it and forwarded it directly on the internet. After all this time, the entire internet should have seen that photo by now. Reporters sniffed and took out their cell phones to click on the comment section. When they all verified my words one by one, the call that Zhao Huai had just dialed hadn't been picked up yet. His eyes went from firm at first to evasive. Then resignation, indignation. In just 10 minutes, he had almost thought of his career being ruined. But his love for Jiang Yan made him instinctively rule out all suspicion of her. Zhao Huai only thought that she was busy, so she did not bother to answer. Unconvinced and unconvinced, he called dozens of times again. But the beeps coming from his ears were always the same sentence. He had been calling for half an hour, and the reporters at the scene had been waiting for him for half an hour. Even the distant dean's heart was in his throat after him, waiting for the result of his explanation. The director was even more nervous with his lips pursed. 9, but reality often went against their wishes. It didn't develop in the direction they hoped for. Jiang Yan ended up not answering. Zhao Huai was completely in a state of collapse. When the last call was rejected, he violently lifted his cell phone up and slammed it on the ground in public. The screen shattered into scraps, and he was so angry that his eyes were scarlet. It was the same as the way he did it to me in his previous life. I was instinctively afraid and couldn't help but take a step back. Zhao Huai pulled his hair with both hands in death, and wailed continuously under his breath. Impossible. She must have something delayed. I was still enlightening her just before I left the house, and she also said that she would travel with me when she got well. I'll ask again later. She must have been delayed by something. The words that came out of his mouth carried a load of uncertainty. Even he couldn't be sure. But on second thought, even if Jiang Yan came out to explain, it wouldn't change anything. If the photos hadn't been sent out, he would still be able to save the day. But now the 2 of them cheated on each other has become a fact. Once Jiang Yan appeared, it is only the person who was scolded from 1 to 2. This kind of losing money business, think also no one is willing to. Seeing that the reporters have been unable to hold back, the dean completely ran out of patience. He could only announce the results of this medical accident in public. Zhao Huai and the female colleague who answered my phone at the time of the accident were suspended together. The moment he finished announcing the results, Zhao Huai looked like he had been drained of all his strength. His knees fell straight down and hit the floor hard. The reporters had waited for half a day, and now that they finally got the results, they dispersed. The hall quickly returned to its usual coldness. Only Zhao Huai's crumbling figure was left alone. The female colleague who was dragged down by him caught up with the dean's footsteps and wanted to plead for herself. The humble look is a far cry from the openness she had when she answered my call. Unfortunately, as the person involved, she could no longer stay out of it. From the moment she agreed to cover up for Zhao Huai in front of me, her end was already predetermined. I held onto the wall and turned around to return to the hospital room. I had thought that this time, Zhao Huai would turn his hatred towards Jiang Yan. Go straight to her for revenge, just like he did to me in his previous life. But he followed my footsteps into the ward. Hearing the sound, I glanced back and was so scared that my heart almost stopped on the spot. Thinking of the face that died under him in my previous life, I slowly backed away. Cell phone cupped in hand, ready to call the police. He was just about to open his mouth when the director suddenly pushed the door in. Zhao Huai's shadowy gaze swept me, and he could only leave in a lurch. Only then did I breathe a sigh of relief. Hurriedly packed up my things and checked out of the hospital, refinding myself a place to live. Just before I could move, I heard the news that Zhao Huai had been arrested at the police station because of a murder. The deceased was Jiang Yan. She died at her home. I inquired to know. Zhao Huai that day out of the hospital directly rushed to Jiang Yan's side. The result was that she packed her luggage and wanted to run out of the country. She was caught red-handed. Zhao Huai pulled her down and questioned why she refused to testify on his behalf. While saying that, he dragged her towards the door. But Jiang Yan didn't even think about it and said she didn't want to be dragged into it. Now that the boat is in the water, nothing can be said to clear the suspicion. She said that not only could she not save him, but she would also get herself involved. Zhao Huai had already been stimulated to the point of collapse. Of course, he couldn't let her go. He only questioned her angrily, saying that she had clearly said that she would die if she left him. As a result, she was also mocked by Jiang Yan to her face. Her psychiatric diagnosis was nothing more than a fake, and she even managed to fool him. If it wasn't for the fact that she couldn't stay abroad and heard that he was in a big hospital, she wouldn't have been able to come back. But she didn't realize that Zhao Huai couldn't even handle his own family's crap. A divorce dragged on for 7 years. In the end, he got nothing and wasted 7 years of his own time. These words completely crushed Zhao Huai's last shred of sanity. He reached out and pinched Jiang Yan's neck, watching her struggle desperately in front of him. Watching her gag in front of himself. Then dragged the body to surrender voluntarily. The hospital finally sent out an online announcement of his dismissal. Before he went to jail, he left me a copy of his signed divorce papers, saying that I had lost a child for him after all. He said he was ashamed of me. But he never knew that it was more than that. What he owed me in his previous life has long been unpaid. I took the divorce papers back home. I sold my house when my health was almost recovered. I switched to a different city to live. This place is full of grief and memories. I do not want to step foot again in this life.